Here we are,
Here we
episode
are.
2, folks. Welcome to During Work Hours, July 10th, 2024. And before we get going, I think we have a birthday to celebrate belatedly. Justin, how old are you turning?
I'm 32. And yeah, birthdays are funny to me. I Matt forgot my birthday, if anyone was wondering, because I just expect him to remember my birthday at all times. I forget so many people's birthdays that I am very okay if someone doesn't remember it's my birthday. Here's the perfect
Yeah.
birthday to me is no decision making. I would love to not make a single decision on my birthday.
Oh,
And that doesn't mean there has to be this big grandiose plan. It just means like I don't want to have to decide where I'm going or what I'm doing.
so what'd you end up doing?
Wait to get
A perm.
it, yep. I went to get this is gonna sound really funny. It sounds like the birthday of a 10-year-old boy. I went to a diner and got a burger and fries and a milkshake, an Oreo milkshake. It was
Oh,
good.
man.
Hand scooped. And then I went to a similar to a Dave and Buster's. It's Lucky Strike. I think they have some in
Okay.
Washington.
Bowling.
Well, I went specifically to play Big Buck Hunter. It's a game I really enjoy, and I always am trying to talk my partner Haley into playing. She does not enjoy it as much as I do. Got there, it was sadly broken.
Oh,
So I shot some basketballs, and just me and her. I saw how hard I could punch on the
man.
punching bag, and yeah,
It
we
sounds
played
like
a
a great
couple.
birthday.
I came back to the house and watched the newest episode of Love Island USA. If you're not watching, it is dramatic.
Love Island.
It's just so random. And then we went out to a little happy hour at a steakhouse, and
Man, that's the perfect day.
it was a great day. I didn't make any decisions. I got some games. I got some food.
Your
I was
friend
happy.
didn't even wish you happy birthday. It was perfect.
I got a lot of great birthday wishes, and I was grateful for them. If you did reach out, I appreciate, but I do not hold it against you if you didn't remember. Except for you,
Thank you.
Matt. I'm
Thank
pissed.
you. Um,
Um,
I love that birthday.
yeah, good birthday. What's your perfect birthday, Matt?
I don't like decisions either. I don't like to like be the center of attention and like
You
plan
liar.
birthdays.
You're such a
Um,
liar.
I'm not a birthday guy, really. But yeah, it's also I'm December 21st, so I get all of the happy birthday, Merry Christmas, like
Mm.
no one's really free to hang out with, but I think the perfect birthday would be just hanging with the friends.
Yeah, nice board game. No one's wearing shirts. That's
No one.
ideal for you.
I like that.
I'm curious the gift situation for being
Mm,
that close to Christmas. Did it feel like, ooh, double gifts, or it was, hey, here's your birthday and Christmas gift all in one?
those were relatives. Parents, I would get like a birthday and a Christmas gift. Yeah. But now, fun fact, my wife, Casey, and I have the same birthday. So we always get to switch off who celebrates the birthday this year and who gets to celebrate it the next year. And you have to like
That's
plan it for the other person.
the anxiety of planning things in me says that's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that that's your birthday. I'll try and remember and actually, send you wishes. And I'll
Hey,
send you I'll send you a birthday wish on your
the
birthday.
difference is I put my birthday on Facebook because I help the people that can't remember when my birthday is. So it notifies, hey, it's Matt's birthday today. You know
I'm
what's
pretty
a
sure
shock?
mine's on Facebook too.
No, no, I checked. I was like, how did I forget this? And then I was like, oh, this is how. He probably purposely removed it to see who his real friends are.
It's a test. It was a test for everyone, and well, you
I
failed,
failed.
Matt.
I failed.
You are now number 6 on my MySpace top 8. So, uh,
We got a fun episode for y'all today though. breakouts, busts, and our unsexy picks. And yeah, we're gonna kind of get into how we define each of those, and then I think Justin, you're gonna start with the unsexy picks.
Who's that unsexy player?
I would love to share some unsexy pics. Before we get there, I would love to explain what an unsexy pic is for those of you that don't know. Um, an unsexy pic is, it doesn't mean ugly. It doesn't mean, you know, you're not sexy. It just,
We're not ruling that out though either.
we're not ruling it out. Basically, it's someone who is not the talk of the town in fantasy circles. It's not necessarily a big name, or maybe someone who used to be a big name. It's someone that's not going in the top of the draft, perhaps, but is someone who I think is really consistent. And
Hmm.
that is an unsexy pick that's going to help you win every week. A great roster filler, maybe to pair with somebody like a big name. Um, yeah, so that's kind of what an unsexy pick is to me. And I'm gonna have Matt. I'm gonna share some facts about these people, and then I'm gonna have Matt guess who it is.
Okay.
So
I know nothing here, so you're
this
leading the
is
charge.
done. Okay, we're gonna start with four receivers. All right, I'll
Okay.
let you know that. The first one is averaging $19 in auction drafts, is going 47 overall in snake drafts. Someone who ranked 16th overall amongst receivers and last season, and is going, I won't say this part, that might give it away. So this person is 30 years old. They have over 1,000 yard seasons in 7 of their 10 seasons. 5 TDs every season, around 100 targets a season since entering the league, and over 70 receptions in every season but two.
Oh man.
They have played for 3 separate teams, and those are my hints. Who do you think it is?
How deep in a snake did you say they were going? 47?
They're they're going 47 overall.
I think my initial gut is saying Mike Evans.
That is a great guess. It is the one and only Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns, Mr.
Marvin.
Consistency himself. Mike Evans is also very consistent. Would
I
have been
was
a
like
very,
that many thousand yards, but now that I think about it, I don't know if Mike Evans has missed the 1,000 yard mark.
I don't think he has. He's a little sexier of a pick, Mike
Yeah,
Evans. He's
yeah.
got those arm tattoos, and you know, people love him. Amari is just always someone who I feel is never talked about, and
Hmm.
is always providing that extra boost to your fantasy team.
I like that. Are you concerned at all about like Jerry Judy or Deshaun Watson, or is this purely like you just think he's going to get the volume and the targets to match that price?
Volume and targets for sure. Jerry Judy is a big play guy. I don't think he's going to hurt Amari Cooper in the long run. I think
Hmm.
he might catch a long touchdown here and there, but he's not going to hurt Amari in the target share, is my opinion. And he's been kind of QB proof, in my opinion. Yeah, he did have some good. Dak was a good QB for him when he was with the Cowboys, but
Hmm.
um, the Browns have been all over the place. He's kind of proved himself that he is, just whoever the quarterback is, he's going to succeed. So, yeah,
I
let's
can
get
get
on
on
to
board with
this.
that. Yeah, give me the next one.
This is another receiver. I've actually got 3 receivers for you. And I don't have to have you guess all of these, but I will have you guess maybe 3 more. So this one is going for $9.
Cheap.
Um, very cheap. They are getting drafted 62 overall.
Okay.
They are, I won't tell you their final standings last year, but they're kind of getting ranked around wide receiver 35 or 32, excuse me.
Okay.
Um, this person has topped 1,000 yards in every season but his rookie season, where he fell just below 900 and something. He's in a very new situation. And he's kind of averaging about 13 points a game. Very talented receiver, still youngish, and
How old are we
um,
talking?
that is a great question. This player is 28, so
Okay.
he's still got some very valuable years ahead of him.
Man, this is tough. This is tough.
Do you want a little bit of a hint?
Yeah, give me a little bit more on this one.
This might give it away.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
just say this. I'll say this. New QB.
Terry McLaurin.
It is scary Terry McLaurin. You are
Terry
right
Terry.
on the money. I know you love him. I love him. Very talented. Just has had kind of an unfortunate situation, I feel like, but is
So many
still
different
produced.
quarterbacks.
So many different quarterbacks. A bunch of different offensive schemes that I don't think has really helped him. And so coming into a fun new situation, I think, with Jaden
Mm.
McDaniel, I think he's going to get him the ball a lot and should have a fun offensive scheme.
I like this pick a ton. Yeah, Terry, I think with Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator, this offense is going to be really up tempo. And Jaden is going to draw so much defensive attention that I am hoping for less double teams than Terry's used to. But I completely agree with you. Someone that's not really being hyped up, where talent's there, and I'm hoping opportunity and volume matches the talent. But
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to have you guess one more wide receiver and two more running backs. Sound
okay,
good?
let's do it.
All right, this next person is going for $14. This wide receiver, $14 on average in auction drafts, going at pick 62. I think I said Terry was 62. Terry was 60. This is 62.
Mm.
Uh, and is kind of being ranked around 35 on average across major platforms. Uh, He has led his team in receptions and yards this past year, but struggled to receive touchdowns.
It's
He,
Deontay Johnson,
it is
man.
not, it is not. Great
What?
guess. Um, this is going to give it away a little bit, so I'm going to
Okay.
maybe leave this part out. But new offensive scheme, and I think will get utilized a lot more even than last year. He is maybe
Ridley?
wide receiver two on his team.
Are you talking Calvin Ridley
I'm not talking Calvin Ridley.
or Godwin?
And we are talking Chris Godwin. He
Mm.
is getting moved to the slot, according to reports, where he has played in the past and been very efficient. I think he's someone that's a lot better than he's getting drafted for. So yeah, unsexy, I think he's kind of fallen. I don't see people crazy excited, but I know it's somebody that I like and I think you have mentioned similar things as well.
Yeah, I think the thing I'll leave with our listeners is a lot of you that play fantasy football know Cooper Kupp kind of broke the game about 2 or 3 seasons ago when he got the triple crown of basically yards, touchdowns, and receptions for a wide receiver. And the offensive coordinator during Cooper Kupp's reign is now the offensive coordinator on the Bucks for Chris Godwin, who is playing out of the slot, like you mentioned, just like Cooper Kupp did that year. I'm not saying he will put up Cooper Kupp numbers. I'm just saying that you take someone who likes to sling it like Baker, you put in an offensive coordinator who clearly knows how to get the ball to the wide receiver playing out of the slot. And I think this is someone, like you said, that like there's no hype around, not a big sexy name, but the volume could be crazy. And I think like he is skilled enough to be able to deliver much higher ADP than he is at right now.
Love it. Okay, let me give you two running backs and then I'll
Yeah,
just
let's
tell
do
you who the rest are. This running back is averaging $18, going for $18 in auction drafts across major platforms. His average draft position is 81. They are ranked RB 21 coming into this year, and they finished in the last 3 years RB 18 last year, RB 20 the year before, and RB 5 the year before that. They average 5 yards a carry, uh, and are someone I really like. So that's all. That's all I'm gonna say.
How you said they're going around the 80s overall?
81.
81. Man, this one's tougher than the wide receivers. I think my gut is saying James Conner.
You are spot on, my friend.
Ooh.
That is an excellent guess. James Conner is always an unsexy pick, someone who's never talked about, you know, but is someone who gets a lot of goal line work, and has had to deal with a lot of issues in the offense, but still been very consistent. He's never going to be an RB5. I'm not saying this as a guy that's going to, you know, necessarily win you your league, but he's going to be someone that helps you and, is very consistent. He does have to compete with Trey Benson.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that, but despite that, I think he's an unsexy pick that's gonna, help you and not hurt you.
I'd agree. Yeah, Trey Benson is definitely the holdup because I know he is really one of the most hyped up rookies right now. His like work after contact is pretty crazy. However, recent reports from beat writers in Arizona have kind of suggested that like James Conner has the job and they aren't very worried about it being much of a split. But my other concern with James Conner is he has yet to play a full healthy season. And so I think it's more going to be a pick where you're probably going to get of the like 15 regular season games, you're probably going to get maybe about 10 or 11, but it's going to be really solid during those. And like, I wouldn't mind matching up that pick with Trey Benson later because you can get Trey Benson even later. And that way you have the starter no matter if James Conner is on the field or not.
Absolutely. Trey Benson's going around $5. So,
Mhm.
um, and um,
Yeah,
yeah,
way later in snake drafts, even.
yeah, yeah. So that's a great handcuff play there. So
All right, give me
I
that last one.
Last one I want you to guess. This player is going for $13, running back, and is getting drafted in 64 across major platforms and is ranked about RB 20. This player has a new offensive coordinator who's kind of an QB guru, but has had some very successful running backs under his teams. Uh, they have a line that's kind of dealt with a lot of injuries in the beginning of last season, but got a lot better as the season went on. And I think it was a reflection of his production in the beginning of the year. Someone who was at one point going pretty high in running backs, but has just seemed to really fall this year.
Najee Harris?
It is Ramondre Stevenson,
Ah, that's a good
someone
one.
that's not going to have a lot of competition, will have a major workload, is in a whole new situation. People thought he was very talented previously. He showed a lot. And it's just wasn't the best last year, but I really don't blame him. He does have a new quarterback with Drake May, and I think he has an opportunity to outplay what he's getting ranked right now.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I really like the offseason moves in terms of his fantasy stock too, with regards to last year, the problem was Zeke vultured basically all of the goal line work from Ramondre, which like touchdowns are a huge, huge part for running back like production. And if you're doing all the work in between the lines and then you don't get to actually get into the end zone, that is a big deterrent for me from drafting them. But they go out and they get Antonio Gibson and get rid of Zeke. And Antonio Gibson isn't exactly a goal line bulldozer. He's more of a third down pass catching back. And so I really like it too, in terms of I think he'll get much more goal line work. Drake May should do tons of dump offs to him, honestly. And they usually it's follow the money and they paid him. So
I think you're right on the money. I'm just going to read off the rest of these picks for you. We don't have to discuss too much. I think you might disagree with some of them.
I love it.
But they are Jerome Ford, who I know you agree with, going
Hmm.
$5. Could very well is could start an entire season depending on how long it takes Nick Chubb to come back. Even if he comes back, he's going to get a lot of games as RB1. And you know, when he did start was awesome. 14 touches and yeah, it was great. The next is Zamir White, who I love, going $16. He averaged 4.7 yards a carry in the 4 games he started last year. He's going to be a workhorse. His RB2 that they got was Alexander Madison, who was very lackluster as a starter. As someone who drafted him, I know how lackluster he was. And I expect the Raiders line to take a huge step up. They drafted Powers Johnson out of Oregon, who I really like, and they returned the rest of their starters. They were ranked high last season, and I think they're gonna, play even better. Devin Singletary is another one. This is an extremely unsexy pick. I think people are very against the Giants, but he's only going for $9. He's definitely the lead back with not a lot of competition, in my opinion. He's constantly proven himself. With the Texans last year, beating out Pierce. And it's not my favorite landing spot, obviously, but he's going to get touches. He's going to get dump offs. I think he'll contribute. The last two are Austin Eckler, who
Mm.
used to be one of the sexiest picks in the league. But after a very disappointing last year, he got an ankle injury in the beginning of the year and just
Mhm.
seemed to kind of linger for the whole season. Someone that's very okay not being the top back, as he said multiple times, but he kind of takes over that Antonio Gibson role with the Commanders last year and is more talented than Antonio Gibson, in my opinion. So, I think he's going to catch a lot of balls. I think he's going to produce. He's going $13. But I think, if anything were to happen to Brian Robinson Jr., he's
Yeah.
got a great situation. And the last but not least is Aaron Jones. Also used to be a very sexy pick, has kind of been on a decline. Um, that the his MO right now is he's old, he's injured. But I think he's gonna see plenty of work. If he's healthy, he's gonna, you know, be a touchdown scoring, pass catching, awesome guy. But the big if is if he's injured or not. And there's iffy quarterback play, iffy line. So it is my least sexy of the unsexy picks, but I do think he's someone fun that I'm rooting for.
I think it's the one I disagree with most too, and we'll get into why.
Yeah.
But as Justin kind of said at the start of this pick, I think a lot of these players are players that you see constantly falling down draft boards, and they're players where if the fall continues, like both of us don't really mind picking up and taking that value because they're going to be people that produce and get you those 10, 13 points every week. And it's really nice to pair those with players that you think are much higher risk reward players, like George Pickens, as an example of someone that like could really break out, or maybe he has a really low floor too. And so a lot of these players have much higher floors than other players around them.
Yeah.
But we'll take a short little switch here over to our breakouts and busts. These are going to be Justin and I's kind of top players that we are most excited for and least excited about. And we'll, in this segment, just kind of popcorn to each other. So you can either take a breakout or bust. You can tell everyone why you think they're going to be that. But this is a point in our segment where we could do like a live ad read. But if you're someone out there who you're like, man, Justin and Matt are reaching tens of people. Like I'm single and I want them to advertise like I'm looking for someone for some good like partner and we'll talk you up here on this show.
We'll shout you out for sure. But
Yeah.
here's my it could be something as simple as, hey, I got this shirt from the Goodwill at the Ave in Seattle for $3 and go to the Goodwill.
Give us an example of let's say our friend Jonathan wanted like to have you like sell him in terms of like he wants you to convince our listeners that he's a great guy that they should consider going on a date with. How would you do
Yeah,
it?
that's excellent. Let me give this to you right now. Are you someone who looks for a good time? Are
Yeah.
you someone who enjoys laughter
Yes.
and love? Jonathan is someone who, how do I describe John? He has got a tattoo of Alf, the popular sitcom from a few decades ago, on his lower back. You're gonna like it. That's all I'm saying. You're gonna enjoy time with this person.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, if you want us to talk up your Etsy art or anything, give us a little DM. We're down.
Yeah,
Um,
we're reaching the masses with this podcast.
we definitely are. All right, we're gonna get into again, you can switch between breakouts and busts. Just whoever you're most excited to talk about. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite breakout receivers that I am most excited for this year. He was one of my ride or dies last year. And I think the sad part was he almost did die in the off season, but he
Oh,
survived. And that's Tank Dell. And I think my big thing about Tank is he was averaging almost more targets per game than Nico in games that they played together. And it's just the eye test for me of like, even though they were averaging about the same amount of targets per game, I know he has that rapport with CJ Stroud, and I know Stroud loves him. I'm not that worried about Diggs coming over. If anything, the defense has to give more attention to Nico and Diggs. And I think Tank is going to be the one that like ends up being open more often than not. And his yards after catch was absolutely insane last year. And he had one of the craziest touchdown equities of almost any receiver. He had a 0.63 touchdowns per game, which is crazy. Most players hover around like 0.25 or zero point 0.3. So he's basically doubled, and everyone's like, touchdown equity will go down. I don't necessarily agree. I think that's how he gets schemed up, is he's their big play guy. And yeah, I think sky's the limit for Tank. If what he did in his first rookie year, I think a lot of people missed because of Puka's greatness in his rookie year. But yeah, give me Tank at his ADP and especially in auction drafts going for like mid-teens to low 20s. I think that's a great value for someone that could finish as the wide receiver one on an offense that I think everyone wants a piece of this year.
I love Tank. The talent's there. What would you say to someone who says there's too many mouths to feed with Diggs, Nico? They got a ton over there. What's your response?
My response is probably thank you because it's those people that push him down the draft boards for me. And like I kind of said, cream rises to the top, Justin. And I'm telling you, tank's the cream and dig is the crop.
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you with that. He's going pick 55 overall, 30 wide receiver. So someone that could finish a lot higher. I like that.
What direction are you going?
Yeah, we're gonna go the tight end position.
Mm,
This I'm actually going bust. So I for every one of your breakouts, I'm gonna tell you a bust. And then unless you want me to go the other way. I could
no,
do
I
either
love it.
one.
I love it.
This is someone that is going tight end one, tight end two. It's Travis Kelce. He is going for $29 on average. Probably in your league, he's going more, averaging pick 34.
Controversial.
It's very controversial. It's not that I don't believe in Travis and his skill, it's that he's 34. For the first time last year, he fell below 1,000 yards. I think he's going to be a little bit less of a focus. I think you saw it with the Chiefs trying to get some more receivers, some more reliable receivers, especially with last year with every one of their wide receivers dropped the ball so much. And you still saw Travis fall off a little bit. I think he'll be serviceable. I'm not saying he's not going to help you, but I do think he's falling down to earth majorly. And I think that there's tight ends that are way cheaper that I think are going to finish similar, if not better than him. So,
Yeah, he's a hard one to place. I think a similar player analogy would be Derrick Henry. Just someone that like is very, very like getting on the older side. And for a lot of running backs, honestly would be considered the anomaly. Same with Travis Kelce. And at some point the wheels are gonna fall off and like the cliff is going to come. And so I think Travis Kelce is more of a matter of like do you want to miss out on another potentially great tight end one season for someone that's going to be a Hall of Famer? Or do you want to like buck the trend early and hop on maybe Laporta in the same range, or like wait a little bit and go for the new blood and Dalton Kincaid or Trey McBride? But yeah. Hmm. Speaking of busts, I'm gonna say kind of my favorite bust. And I hope I ruffle some feathers here, but Brandon Ayuk, I don't want any piece of Brandon Ayuk. Outside of the off-field stuff, we don't even know if he's going to hold out, play, be on the Niners. My assumption is he's on the Niners, and I'll operate with that. But here's some stats. Tank Dell, 6.82 targets per game. Brandon Ayuk, 6.56. Brandon Ayuk is going 17th overall, and Tank Dell is going about 47th overall. And you're telling me that Brandon Ayuk, who is getting less targets per game at 17 overall, now like is going to be worth that premium price just because his yards after catch is insane? To me, Brandon Ayuk feels more fluky. And honestly, the whole Niners offense kind of operates like that. It's someone's day and then it's someone's else's day. I would much rather take a Marvin Harrison Jr. or a Devontae Adams or Chris Olave in that 17 range than I would for Brandon Ayuk. I do think, like you, he will have his days and his production, but at that cost, it's just not worth it for me. And that's why he's one of my biggest busts.
yeah, I like Brandon. I like his talent. I do believe he stays with the Niners. I know there's a lot of talk of him going elsewhere. I just don't know if people are willing to give up what the Niners are asking for him. I do like him, but I agree. The Niners are just fluky altogether, which brings me to my bust. I know I said I was doing opposite, but it just feels right. I went the opposite direction, and my bust is actually Debo Samuel.
We're out on these
And
Niners.
we're out on these Niners a little bit, and it's not that I don't think well, again, he's gonna have big games for you, but it's just so fluky. He's going $27, pick 22. This past season, he didn't top 100 yards receiving in a game, and he's kind of reliant on running the ball. But he has this scattered injury history because of that, and he plays really rough. And yes, it'll get you a long running touchdown, or I just think that he's due for a regression specifically with touchdowns. And
I'd agree there. I'm gonna go back to breakout actually. And this will kind of finish the conversation we had earlier about Aaron Jones. And the reason I'm not as high on him as an unsexy pick is because I have Ty Chandler as one of my breakouts. Uh, Ty Chandler's price is almost free right now in drafts, and I think it's just ridiculous for a offensive coordinator in Wes Phillips that's been known to love committee backs, and Aaron Jones for essentially the last 6 seasons of fantasy has had a worse fantasy season than the previous season every single 6 years. So he is on the decline, and he turned 28 last year, which is kind of the magic number where running backs start declining. So he's turning 29 this year, known for injuries, like you said, and they love Ty Chandler. And the coach already said it's going to be more of a 1A, 1B situation, which is why I'm excited about him, especially at his cost of almost like next to nothing. And so that's why I'd much rather prefer Ty's ADP compared to Aaron Jones.
I like that. I like where you're headed. I like where your head's at. So I am gonna go to the breakouts as well, since I haven't done one yet. And it's let me go with my favorite first. This is someone going for $4 and 129 overall. It is tight end Pat Fryermuth. Yes, he's a Steeler. Maybe there's a little bit of a bias here, but he had a huge regression from his rookie year. The touchdowns were an issue, and just getting him the ball was an issue. He did have to compete with Deontay Johnson and Pickens and Jalen Warren and Najee. He had some of the worst quarterback play in the league. Say what you want about Russ or Fields, I think it's a huge upgrade that, he's going to catch a lot of balls, a lot of seam routes, I think, a lot of balls in the middle of the field. Both of those guys have an ability to extend the play. And I think that was the issue last year is he never had enough time to get the ball. And so
I love his ADP right now, especially if you're waiting on tight end and you're in a bigger league. He's an amazing value, like tight end 12 or 13 or 14 or something. And so, yeah, for my last one, I'm going to do another breakout. This is one of my most favorite quarterbacks to target if I do not take a quarterback earlier in the draft, and it's Jaden Daniels. And similar to Terry McLaurin, of like his offensive coordinator is Cliff Kingsbury, who was the offensive coordinator for Kyler Murray and knows how to scheme a quarterback that likes to run. And Jaden has the similar like tendencies and athletic traits that Anthony Richardson does. Maybe not quite as much of like an athletic freak, but this dude loves to run, and he's almost like a YOLO quarterback. He's really fun, loves to throw deep. He's someone where he's essentially going at like QB 14 right now. And so if you're in a 12 team league, you can almost get him for free if people aren't taking second quarterbacks. And he's someone where I would love to like take as maybe one of my last picks. If it doesn't pan out, it's not that big of a deal. You can just stream a different quarterback. But I think his upside is easily able to finish in the top 10 of quarterbacks, if not the top five, just because rushing ability is such a cheat code. And this offense should be much more fast paced, let alone like they also have a pretty easy defensive schedule. And so that's kind of why Jaden Daniels is on my list of breakout players. And you're like, Matt, a rookie can't break out. They haven't even played yet. And that's why our definition of breakout is just someone that will considerably outperform their ADP. And so Jaden is kind of my last pick there.
I love it. He kind of reminds me of Justin Fields, someone that maybe, maybe as a Commanders fan is going to irritate you. I'm not sure. But fantasy wise, I think is going to produce similarly. I do have a quick side question for you. Do you think Jaden deserved the Heisman?
No comment, Michael Penix.
Okay, we'll let it pass. Well, I'm gonna go over to a bust of mine, and this one is gonna also be maybe a little bit of a feather ruffler. Someone that people are pretty high on, and if you had a piece of him last year, you were probably pretty excited, and that is Devon Achane. And he's going for $29, pick 21. I think some people are going to be mad at me saying this. It's just, I know he's fast and I know he has the talent. He just got such a limited sample size last year. He was hurt for a number of games. He shares the backfield with someone who, yes, is old, but gets a lot of goal line work. They have a ton of offensive weapons. The O-line lost 2 starters and is fully dependent on the health of Armstead, who missed 11 games in his 2 years with Miami. And so he's a guy with an extremely high ceiling. I totally understand, but the floor is also very low for me. So I think he's someone who's so hyped up that I think is not going to live up to that hype.
Yeah, one of the most polarizing players in the drafts right now for sure. And his price tag is high. So I agree with you. I am a little bit scared away by that price tag, but that's going to do it for during work hours today. Thank you to our second time listeners who stayed through the first episode where we both didn't have mics and our camera issues were weird, but we're getting better. And if there's any like specific content or topics you want us to go over, definitely shoot us a DM. We love feedback and we love to just do the content that you all want to hear and are excited about. Send us off, Justin. What do you got?
Oh, well, I do want to say we heard you loud and clear. Matt is wearing pants now. I know the first episode that was a big issue. If you haven't listened, go listen.
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
Maybe don't watch. It is sickening. So, thank you for letting us know that was an issue. Well, with that, we are during work hours, and we hope that you skipped some work to listen. We'll see you later.